What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN, USD. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 29th day of July, and here we are at about 1.566 cents. 23 hours, 4 minutes left in the day. It's a brand new day here, and we did close down a little bit yesterday, down about 4%. Still getting higher lows. And it is possible that we could go lower. It actually is. Looking at this as of now, you guys, I want to address the idea of going lower, and not just lower than where we are here, but specifically lower than this trend line. Because we are doing something that, in my opinion, is rather suggestive of the idea that we do, in fact, go below this trend line, okay? Typically, if you notice this behavior, now don't treat this like it's a guarantee, but understand that this is something that tends to happen, okay? This is a probability right here, and it makes sense. You found support here. Look at what you did. Well, okay, come on now. I like to draw it. Okay, you can see it, but I like to draw it. I don't feel like you can see it until I draw it. Look at what you did here when you found support, right? And now look at what you did. You see the difference, right? Different behavior oftentimes begets different results. And you guys know how I feel about these diagonal lines, right? It's oftentimes that once you get below these diagonal lines, or even in the case of getting above them, right, from here to there, finding resistance at that diagonal line, once you get above them, that's actually where the top is. That's actually where the bottom is. People think, oh, we've broken out of this uptrend. That means that we're going even higher. Things are about to go ballistic. And I didn't address that back then, but I probably would have, retrospectively thinking about it, might have given me a little bit of concern, or maybe I would have been too dramatically bullish on OnyxCoin. I'm sure I was bullish on this day anyways. But that's not the point. That's not the point. The point that I'm trying to make here is that it wouldn't surprise me if, just like that, people might be getting bullish over here. We might be getting overly bearish here, breaking out of this trend line, when in reality we would still have a higher low than this low, which is a higher low than this low. We'd still have higher lows overall, right? So it's not a problem, but it's something that could happen. We might form a double bottom. We don't even have to technically go below this low to break through this trend line. You hear what I'm saying? If we're looking at this from a relative low here to relative high there, the golden ratio is right there at about 1.5 cents to 1.44 cents. It's very possible that we go to this area. Very, very possible indeed. And again, with this reaction that we've had so far, and with the lackluster day of yesterday, it kind of puts it in my head that in fact we will go below this trend line. I think that's what's going to happen. So is that going to be today? Is that going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be between now and the end of the week? I don't know. I'm assuming that it would happen probably today, but let's look at the 1 hour time frame and see if we can divulge some more information. Because again, it's like psychological warfare with these charts. What's going to cause the most pain? What's going to cause people to sell at the worst possible time right before we move up, right? And those diagonal lines, everybody thinks they're a genius drawing these diagonal lines. Sometimes with certain things, they're applicable, and sometimes they uphold. It depends on if you have like a trending range or like a parallel channel. Things are different in that kind of environment, but we're not in that environment now necessarily. I wouldn't think that we are. Looking at this on a 1 hour time frame here. 1 hour time frame. Oh. I mean, the RSI does look bearish. It does. Overbought, oversold. It's very volatile overall, but right now it does look bearish. And we're almost done with this 1 hour time frame, so nothing's going to save the day. 1 hour cross below the zero on the MACD. Last time that we crossed below the zero, we moved sideways for a little bit, and then we dropped more. We moved sideways for a little bit, maybe we drop more. And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think we'll get a drop like this, but even if we did, we could go to 1.3 cents, something like that. It's very possible. People might hear that and be like, oh no, I need to get out of this now. I'm thinking, oh yes, let's buy some more. It's not a problem at all. I do believe that OnyxCoin is going to make a huge comeback, and I mean, anybody that sells this thing now, man, or at the lower prices, if we do go to those, it's going to take no time at all before you're deep in the regret pool. But the stochastics look bullish as far as like bullish divergence goes. The RSI does not look bullish. The MACD doesn't look bullish. So I would say overall more bearish looking things on that 1 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame here. Looking at the RSI, lower highs, lower lows. You clearly are in a downtrend. You're doing things. You did things a bit differently here. I am surprised that you rejected, but whatever, you rejected, man. You did. It's a bit of a different top than you've had at any of these other peaks. Typically, different behavior begets different results, but not always. you're probably going to form a higher low instead of a lower low. That'd be my expectation, right? Maybe this different behavior in a sense is going to give you different results. You still move down, but instead of getting a low, instead of getting a lower low, instead of getting a lower low, and this time you might get a higher low and bounce off the oversold zone, right? Something like that, or even just below the oversold zone. Form a double bottom in a kind of like W pattern down here, right? The reverse bow. You guys know what I'm talking about? Where it looks like a bow. Like that, right? You've even got the M in the middle. You've got this, because that's what the reverse bow is comprised of. It's this. Then you get the M. You come down, and then boom. It looks like a bow, but it's the reverse bow because the price goes in the reverse direction of where the arrow would go, if that makes sense. I don't know why it's being so laggy. It's making it hard to draw, but that's a very bad arrow. Anyways, I would think that we do hold let's say 1.4 cents at the lowest, 1.48 cents, somewhere around there. I think that we hold probably closer to 1.48 to 1.45. We're at 1.56 now, so a little bit of a hiccup here on the 4-hour time frame, but I still think this MACD is looking like it wants to cross above the zero. Stochastics about to get oversold, suggested that we go lower. The RSI downtrend suggested that we go lower as well. Let's look at the daily time frame. We've already gone over why I think we're going to go down based on a daily aspect just with that one trend line alone. That's the only thing those diagonal lines are good for, guys, is once you see them, look for that interaction. I'm telling you, and again, don't treat it like you're rubbing a crystal ball and you know the future, because this won't always work out. It's just a typical thing. Something this simple, right? How did you react here? How did you react here? How did you react here? Once you start to react differently, oftentimes you'll actually you'll break that, right? And that it typically does happen on that third touch point, which you're not really aware of these trend lines until that third touch point anyway. So the one thing that it's helpful with might not be selling the top, but at least you're not going to buy before it goes a little bit lower. You know what I mean? Like it could help you time a buying point accordingly, or in this case a selling point accordingly. Not always. Again, don't always think that, because sometimes you do break through those trend lines and you do just continue to rip and rally. That happens. It definitely does happen. But you know, like here, whenever you finally broke above that trend line. But see, this is different, right? This is that parallel channel. This is a different environment, right? Totally different environment. When you break something like that, of course you're going to get a magnificent move. But I digress. Looking back at the indicators now, stochastics are pointed down to the oversold zone. RSI did reject the 50, which is not a good look in itself. Overall, the RSI is bullishly postured, but right now, momentarily, you look like you're ready to go down a little bit. The MACD, oh, that's actually not bad, guys. Let's get today to close red, because if we close red, we're actually in a position where the MACD will bounce right off the zero, and we've got these higher lows. That actually would look good. So I'm not worried about the price action at all. I'll start to get worried about the price if the MACD crosses below the zero, if the RSI gets oversold. Not like touches it, but like actually gets into the oversold zone, like living there. The stochastics don't really have me concerned, but I'm not worried about it at all. I still think that we are well on our way to higher prices. It's just looking like we're not going to see these relative highs or prices at 5 cents by the end of the month, unfortunately. I mean, it is the 28th or 29th now, so we have 29, 30, 31. We have 3 days left. It doesn't take long. In fact, in 3 days last time, we moved up about like 200 and something %. We absolutely could move up to 4 or 5 cents by the end of this month, but effectively what we'd have to see is a day to day where we move down and move up in a dramatic fashion all in the same day. And I don't know if we get that. I think that maybe tomorrow or the next day will be the days that are reserved for moving higher. But I'm just talking at this point. 26 to 32 cents is still the area that we're keeping in mind for our next target destination. I very much do expect we'll see that in August. I've got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.